Everybody, it's Kathleen Reynolds with So Charming Quilts, and I wanted to take a moment to show you the proper way to use your best friend that you love to hate, Jack the Ripper. You should always have a good seam ripper and make sure it's nice and sharp. But here's an example. This particular block that I'm working on, it's not quite, it needs to be sewn like maybe one thread over on the top here so it'll line up properly when it gets resewn. But how do I rip it out? Well, you could just kind of go along the edge and do a little bit here, a little bit there. But the actual proper way to rip this out is to open up your end seam here by moving that little thread and then counting over 4 stitches, 2, 3, 4, and actually popping that stitch. Get your seam ripper under there, pop that stitch, and go every 4th stitch and pop it. And I'm going to tell you why. You're going to go, oh, that's so time consuming. It might be if you have a long line of stitching to rip out, but for most small things, it's really important and easy to do. So I'm just going to do this every 4th stitch and just pop that stitch open, because you're going to see why we do that in just a minute. When you come to the end and you're really close to this end you just want to open up that threading just a little bit. You don't want to cut it, you just want to open it up. Because if you're careful, by opening up that end, it loosens the whole thing. But now we're going to separate it quick as anything. Just like that. And then all we have are the little threads to remove, which you can use see, this is the one on the back. Then you can use a lint roller to pick up all these loose threads and it'll pull it out for you. And you might say, well, doesn't that skew the edges? Actually, it doesn't, because when it is attached here, you've snipped so many of the threads across that when you go to pull it apart, first of all, make sure you have hold right where your seam was when you pull it apart, but there's no resistance because you've opened everything up, you've clipped everything, so now you're just separating it, and there's no distortion on your blocks. That is the proper way to use the friend you love to hate, Jack.